Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Two unusual things in this video. One, an article from Ukraine by Ukrainians being critical at their successes or lack of. I think this is one of the few that mildly, called out the insuccess or the lack of advance of the Ukrainian troops in the counteroffensive. If you hear this from the Ukrainian themselves, now that's bad. You hear it, from the Russians, it's obvious, from some media outlets, from some friendlier countries, friendly to Russia, it's, expected. But these guys, no. So let me show you what's going on here. The New Voice of Ukraine, Saturday, June 17th, 2023. Ukrainian military expert says advance against Russian forces is too sluggish, urges decisive action. Well, this is like some tool. Anyway, it's like, I'm going to give you a better analogy. It's like two people, a man and a woman, making love, and then she says deeper. It's like the guy would say tighter. My friend, that's how deep. Hey, my friend, that's how tight. Oh my God, here it is. So yeah, they urge decisive action. That's all they got. You can't make it. The current military operations conducted by the Ukrainian armed forces are deemed necessary, and I'm quoting, due to the coercion of the Russian Federation and its armed forces, said Yakubets. Yakubets. Oh my God, I can only guess who Yakubets is. So, the coercion of the Russian Federation and its armed forces, it means they're putting a strong defensive fight, and I'm quoting, where we advance by 1 or 1.5 kilometers, those are indeed successes. However, when we progress by 100 to 300 meters, it essentially amounts to a standstill. I agree. 100 meters is about 105 yards, not even 100, something like that, or maybe 110 yards multiplied by 3, you find out the feet. Yakubets said that covering a distance of 100 to 300 meters entails to crossing or overcoming half of the neutral zone, which according to him extends from 300 to 500 meters in certain directions. Strategically, I am deeply concerned about this issue because if we persist in advancing at the current pace, we will inadvertently be playing into the hands of the Russian Federation, which will have detrimental consequences for us, the expert says. Well, you're not a dumbass, I can tell you that so far. He pointed out that the sluggish progress results in increased casualties and the cost of gaining every next 100 meters or kilometer becomes steeper. Correct. I agree with this guy. I'm quoting again, therefore it is imperative for our military and political leadership to carefully consider these issues, assess the advantages and disadvantages, and muster the courage to take decisive actions, Yakubets said. Well, how do you know they did not take all that into consideration, but they have a little bit of an limitation or impotence at this point? Because you can't control everything. You can control what you can do, but you don't know what these guys on the other side are going to do, how they react. The military expert also said that the Russians, by compelling the Ukrainians to advance slowly, have successfully, and I'm quoting, moved forward with their plans. And now they are also advancing in certain directions. I read that one too. And the articles I read coming from the Ukrainians say they are attempting to advance, but they are pushed back. But this guy says a different story. Now they are also advancing in certain direction. So this is present tense continuous. So it's occurring right now, and it's a continuous action. It started in the past and is occurring at this point, and it seems like it's going to be occur in the future occurring. So this is past tense continuous. In such a tandem, I'm quoting, "It will take us decades to liberate our territories," he said. Oh, okay. Resolute deployment of units, formation, and subdivisions of the Ukrainian armed forces is imperative to achieve the operational objectives of, and I'm quoting, attaining a boundary depth ranging from 8 to 100 kilometers behind enemy lines. Well, he also said that advancing by 1,200 meters, that's about 800, should I say, yards? No, that's 0.8 miles, let's put it this way. So that would be 1,400 yards, I would say. Meters signifies the capture of a strong point at the platoon level with the first echelon. In other words, I'm quoting, "In other words, we have successfully breached the enemy's first echelon, specifically the company of the 1st Battalion. We haven't reached the 2nd echelon yet. However, when we break through the battalions of the 2nd echelon within a brigade, we dismantle and annihilate the brigade, propelling us into the operational tactical depth. This progress takes us not only into the operational depth, but even further into the tactical depth." Okay, this expert seems to be knowledgeable, and I think he is not afraid to tell his assessment, his tale, but I'm expecting him to not be allowed to say that again, or maybe this is just to gain and build some trust, and then next time he's going to say something stupid, not next time, after he builds trust with a few things that is going to be, I think, was very objective and very, not objective, but he's not dumb, let's put it this way. And whatever he said was accurate in my assessment. And I'll be paying attention for this Yakacuk, what's his name? Yakacuk, where are you? Yakubets. So Yakubets, okay, I will keep this in mind, Yakubets, and see, probably it's going to come 2 or 3 times again like this, and then the 5th time is going to, like the Institute of Study of War, that Washington D.C. Based think tank that is owned by and charges Victoria Nuland, sister-in-law. Have you heard of Victoria Nuland? Okay, so she is the Undersecretary of State under Biden, because she's under. The one in 2013 with the telephone with the U.S. ambassador in Kiev. Remember that one? With the Europeans and all that. Who are we going to put in? Okay, so that person. So her sister-in-law is the boss of the Institute of Study of War. So when you hear that, think tank, that's not a think tank, okay? Just it is a think tank, but it's to promote certain things. So when I was listening to this guy at the beginning, Institute of Study of War, at the beginning of whatever happens in Ukraine after the 24th of February 2022, the first month and a half, I said, oh, okay, look at these guys, Institute of Study of War, yeah. And then they got really bad with that Avdiivka or whatever it was, the bombardment of the Azov battalions, barracks where there were prisoners over there. And they said, well, it was this, it was that. I made a video on that one when it occurred. And I said, man, you are just weasels. No. So that's when they showed their true mask down, color, however you want to call it. So they're not advancing. It's 2 weeks. Tomorrow is going to be 2 weeks. And what are they doing? It doesn't mean that they can just explode now and go through, but usually is that aspect called surprise, and the surprise is gone, like B.B. King's song, The Thrill is Gone. Well, the same here. The surprise is gone. It's not coming back. So, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.